We will be painting this beautiful Serene waterfall scene. So the first step is we're going to use our blue paint. And we're gonna use our blue paint to do one layer in the background. So that's the first step. So you can take your widest brush. I like to use a flat brush. And we're gonna paint a layer of blue across the entire canvas. Okay, so I'm gonna flip mine so I can get the bottom. So the next step that we're gonna do, once you guys have your background nice and covered, we're going to separate the different sections of the waterfall using just a little bit of black. You might also want to use more blue because we're probably gonna have to blend it a little more. So if you need more blue paint, definitely pour some. And okay, so I still have my blue paint on my brush. I'm not gonna clean it. And I'm just gonna dip it only a little bit in the black. I feel like maybe, just maybe my camera can show you. I just have the littlest bit of black on the tip of the brush. So from here, I'm gonna separate the painting, the two sides of the waterfall, and then the base where the actual water is gonna be. So we're gonna come in with the black paint on the sides going down, and we're gonna do sideways strokes so we can get a little bit more. So the black should blend in with your blue. And we're gonna do that again on the other side. And it should go about like 3/4 of the way down your canvas. And again, doing the side strokes this time. So that's the top half. So we have some black that we blend in on the sides just to make it look a little bit darker, and it's gonna make the water from the waterfall pop a little bit more. So once we do these two sides here, we can do the bottom. And I take the black and I literally just go along the base of the painting. And we're just gonna blend it up into the blue. I might add a little more blue. And at the top, or this bottom section that we left from the beginning, we want the top of it, this little section, to be as blue as possible, and the bottom to be darker with the black paint. So blend it together as best you can. So you now have your black blended in on the two sides at the top and then at the base here. So we created separation. Now we're done with yes, with the big flat brush, so we can put that in our water and clean it. We won't be needing this brush again. So now that we have our separation, we're ready to start with the actual waterfall itself. So we're gonna need our white paint. And this one I'm gonna use actually a rounded brush. Don't have a round one. And you have one that looks kind of like a mop like this, that will be your best brush to use. We can start making the water falling down by just simply taking our brush and making lines of white paint going down the blue. And we just want to keep doing this. Let's see. Maybe leaving like an inch or so on each side of the waterfall. And we're just making the same straight downward strokes. Right. So this is looking good. We can next do the, I don't know, the white water that's already splashing at the bottom. So for that, I'm gonna switch brushes to these are gonna help you come up with the little details of the splashing water. Any sort of like feathering details, that's what the mop brushes and these feather like fantail brushes are for. So if you have one of those, it's perfect. And we're just gonna start tapping the brush on the canvas. And slowly come up with the shape of the water at the bottom. And now this line is gonna go all the way to both ends of the canvas. So you have an actual separation here. Okay. I feel like this is looking good. All right, let's draw our little rocks here at the bottom. And for that, we'll use actually our rounded brush. So I'm gonna go back to this brush that's rounded and pointed. It's gonna be easy for me to create the shapes of the rocks. It's also gonna be easy for me to fill it in. If you don't have one of these, using a detail brush also works, something like this. It's just that you're gonna have to take more time to fill it in once you get your shape down. Okay, so to make the little rocks, we're gonna make little mountain shapes. Two of them next to each other here. I hope you can see. So we have our two little mountain shapes. And we're gonna put another third little mountain shape over here. So once you have these shapes, you're actually going to create kind of a rounded line at the bottom. And then we're gonna make the effect later of the actual water splashing on the rock. So once you make your rounded line at the bottom of each of your little mountain shapes, you can fill those shapes in with the black. A little bit. We're gonna clean our brush and we're gonna go back to our white paint so that we can create the actual ripples in the water down here while our rocks dry. Yes. So I'm gonna use the same, you know what? I'm going to use this brush. If you have one of these, it's perfect. If not, you can use one of these the little pointy little baby brushes to create your lines. So sure this is clear. Okay, let me get a little bit more white. We're using a lot of white paint today. So from here, we can dip not too much, just a little bit of white paint. And we're gonna just start making these little ripples in the water, just uneven lines. And you probably want to make more of them towards the center where the waterfall is and less of them as you go out towards the side. So we're just making tons of little ripples here just to give it some depth. Okay. We don't want to get too crazy. So that should be good enough. Okay. So from here, hopefully your little rocks are starting to dry. Mine are getting dry around the edges. So from here, we're gonna continue with our detailed brush. I'm gonna clean mine off a little bit because it has blue on it. So clean off your brush. We're gonna go back into the white. And we're gonna create these little details on the rock here that make it look like the water splashing on them. So we have, the way I did it was I made it so that the light was coming in from this side onto the rocks. So we're gonna put a little bit of white paint on the left side of your rocks. Not too much, but you should be able to see it. Do this one. Okay. Then once you have a little bit of paint on each of the left sides of the rock, we're gonna put a little bit along the bottoms to show the water that's splashing there. So we'll just put several little white dots around the bottom here. Perfect. So one thing I did do once I got all of this done is I actually took my finger and just blotched the white on the rocks just to make it look a little bit more realistic. I hope you guys are doing good. Perfect. So from here, the last thing that we have to do is the little cherry blossom tree that we have on the side here. So we will go back to our round pointed brush here. This little guy, or if you don't have one of these is fine too. And so what we're gonna do is start making our little branches coming up from the bottom. And we can go, we're only seeing really a part of the tree. So you can just make your branches going out and covering the actual waterfall. Let's see. Need a little bit more. All right, let's see if I could do this sideways. So just one thin stroke for the base of the tree. Let's see if I can make it look more tree-like. Then when I do the branches, I like to start from afar and then bring the branch back to the trunk. Just to give myself some perspective on where the branches are really gonna be. Because you can have all of your little branches breaking off here, so you want to make sure it makes sense. Okay. That's enough branches for me, I think. Let me fix this part. All right. So we have the base of our tree. It's looking pretty good so far. So next we want to mix. So we had two sections of white paint. We want to mix one section with just a drop of red paint, not too much, and mix it so that we make a nice pink color here. So that is going to be for our cherry blossoms. And for this, I like to use the back of a brush, like one that's small, like this one, a pointy back of the brush, and we can do very simple, just make a bunch of little dots in clusters on our branches. Let's see if I can go closer. Oh, this is another part that might take you a bit of time. So just carefully go through and create your pink clusters of cherry blossoms on all your branches. I hope you guys can see. There we go. So that's how it should look. All right. It's coming together. Yeah, this part definitely will be your time taker. All right, I think I'm satisfied now. I have enough. So, uh, okay, wonderful. So I have all my pink dots here. It's looking good. So we're ready for the final step, which I'm gonna clean this pink paint off of the bottom here. And I'm gonna go over some, not all, of my pink dots with little white dots. And that's the last step. So this one won't take as long because we're not gonna put quite as many, just a couple to give it some depth here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Not too many, but I keep going. Okay, I think I'm done. Perfect. And voila, perfection.